on YouTube, guys. We are streaming live.
Hey, everybody.
Yes, we got about 30 seconds, 15 seconds.
Why do I have two?
I think you probably took mine.
I know it's got sunburn.
You left this one.
Well, I may have just given you a double copy. I probably just gave you a double copy. That's
This
from
is-
last. Yeah, that's from last.
Oh yeah, it is. That's from 2 weeks ago. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Jackie's not coming.
No,
Is it 12 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
7
I
o'clock.
have it on mine, but it hasn't chimed yet.
It hasn't chimed.
That flag is still hanging up that way.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever made that knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You did a good job.
It is nice up there, isn't it?
Who hung that? You?
Who put it up?
I did.
Who did?
You did?
Good job.
It looks good. It looks good. I didn't know it was up until today.
7 o'clock. Good evening. Welcome to the October 8th Village Council meeting. Stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Be seated. I'll share this with you. I'll call the October 8th Village Council meeting to order. Do a roll call, please.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Present.
David,
Here.
Rebecca,
Here.
Tammy,
Here.
and Becky. Here. All is present.
Thank you. We do not have an executive session scheduled. So I need, before you'll find the minutes from the September 24th meeting that we had. I need a motion to approve those minutes for September 24th.
You have that motion, sir.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky. Yes.
And before you have the minutes from the September 27th meeting that we had.
I'll make a motion, sir.
Thank you. I need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky. Yes.
Thank you. Now, you have the minutes for the October 2nd meeting. I need a motion to approve those minutes.
You have that motion, sir.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
and Becky. Yes.
Thank you. That leads us to department reports. And I see Sheriff Deal is not here, so we're not going to get a report. He didn't need anything with
No.
you or anything? Okay. Not a problem. Law Director, Mr. Pitstick.
I have no report.
You have no report. Then that sends us to the Utilities Clerk, Misty Vance.
Just a couple things here. The first one is just the month-to-date payments. We've received about 250 payments, totaling $17,448, and that brings us year-to-date to $735,000, $735,804 at 6,285 payments. One idea that just possibly, we can look at when we're looking at the new ordinance for the water and the sewers, that possibly having deposits made by owners as well as non-refundable deposits made by the owners as well as renters, to build up the emergency fund a little bit. Because this month alone, we've already had either 17 changes, whether they're moves, purchases, or transfers, renting, but 17 changes so far this month. So that would, you know, even if we lowered it, right now it's $150 for each person that wants to start up service that's renting. So it's just an idea.
So you're recommending, rather than have the $150 refundable, you're recommending simply a $50 deposit,
Possibly.
non-refundable.
Right. Yes, and if, like, I know one owner said, well, that 150 gives me, you know, some security knowing that if the renter just leaves, that they owe an amount. Well, we could always just have all the bills go to the owners and not the renters, or even copies going to both. So they would always know what their renter owes or does not owe.
There is an occasion, I know from helping you, where you do send a bill to the property owner, isn't there?
Yes.
So
If they request it, I do that, yes.
Yeah. So what do? You make two bills. One goes to the address where the meter's at, and the other one goes to the actual homeowner.
Yes.
So you actually do that now.
Yeah. Not to every single one, just due to postage.
Okay.
And some of them don't want it, but upon request, of course.
Okay.
There was one thing that I know that Officer Dill was going to mention, and maybe Courtney was going to mention it, I'm not sure, about there's some comments on Facebook, and they may have well just have been joking, and the one particular one, I know that she was probably kidding, but but we take the threat seriously. It was about just starting a fire on the town hall lawn, and there's been other, you know, sarcastic comments made, and that it may just be joking, but I know that he's taken every one of them pretty seriously.
I missed that remark. I heard it was on there, and I went to look for it, and it was gone.
It may have been removed, or that the person may have removed it, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm going to make a comment about that later in the meeting, but thank you. Is that it? Very good. My fiscal officer / village administrator.
Good evening. I first want to, on lighter news of Julia Orrs, I had noticed that she was cleaning up around the monument.
It looks great.
And I didn't want to say your name, but Julia, she did a well job, and I had not gotten over there to thank her for that. So
You made her blush.
Thank you, Julia.
Yeah, thank you.
we truly do appreciate that, more than you know. So I say that on behalf of me and, you know, the village, and as well as the mayor had mentioned that as well, that I did see you. So I appreciate you doing that. I also wanted to address the electric outage. A lot of you that are connected on Facebook through the I Grew Up in Mount Sterling pages, Mount Sterling political pages, the current events of Mount Sterling. I try to reach every resident or everybody that maybe is not a member of those Facebook teams that I have noticed, as well as its effect here at Town Hall, and it also affects our water and sewage plants. And so I felt that it was, you know, after 3 times it was enough. So I wanted to make sure that I took that action a step further. And I had reached out, again, I relayed all this on Facebook for those that are on Facebook, that I would reach out to our Mount Sterling rep, which has changed. So I did get in contact with a lady by the name of Rebecca today, and she was able to tell me what those issues were. And I'm just going to go ahead, for those of you that are not on Facebook, she did explain to me what those situations were. We did have, I counted 5. I know we experienced 5 here. There may be a different number, maybe with other residents. The first outage that we had was a feeder transmission line insulator failure. So what that means is that there was a connection. It wasn't here in Mount Sterling, but on the outskirts of Mount Sterling that affected that. So they did come out the first time and complete, that repair. The second two were actually animal contact, which means that there was one that was a squirrel. I know we all laugh at like, oh my gosh, could that really happen? One of those was a squirrel. The other one was another animal contact. Those were two that had occurred that way. And the last two were unknown. So because we don't know what those unknowns are, I do feel that we need to figure that out so that, if this does cause a problem in the future. So that's why I had them complete what they call performing a complete visual and infrared on the circuits of the future outages. So what they do is they actually physically come out and investigate the lines and walk the lines from where the hubs are to where it ends. So they will have a team out there, so you may see some AEP. Now, again, this is only related to AEP. Some of the other, I believe some of the other replies that I've heard were from other power companies as well. But we're strictly just talking about AEP at this point, because that's the majority of here in Sterling. So they're going to be doing that soon. I did give them soon to me could mean, a week from now, a month from now. So this week, you should be receiving some sort of visual of AEP working some of these lines. I also wanted to talk about some of the projects that we have going around the village. The mayor and I, as well as the employees, had received a complaint of some sewage smell back in the Hillcrest alley, back on East Columbus Street. So we did assess that, and we did kind of narrow it down that there was some sort of blockage. So we did take the vac truck out there Thursday, I believe it was, and did some sort of snaking in there to relieve that, because a lot of the residents were complaining about it and they would only smell it at certain times, so it wasn't a constant smell. And then when we started to get, I've been in contact with a few residents on that street, and they would smell it, and it was odd. They would smell it on a Sunday but not smell it on a Monday. So, I felt that there was some sort of backup somewhere that we needed to look into. So there is a ravine back there that is definitely a drop that we did, that the employees did find that there was some sort of backup there. So we did snake that out. And then again, I welcome anybody that is on that area, but it's right there at East Columbus. So those are some of the projects. We do have several other small projects that we're going to be assessing this week and getting those taken care of. There is, if you guys go on East Main, you'll see some of those cones that are off there where the sewer drain is. If you all notice it, there's some breakage around it, so there is going to be somewhat of a sinkhole if we don't repair that. So unfortunately, it is not the county's, it is ours. So that's why the cones are there, so that it cautions people not to park there, so that it doesn't do any more damage. But there are some small projects that we're going to be assessing. And of course, with the weather coming, in the winter time, we want to make sure that we have, plows and things like that taken care of. I know that the mayor's been taking care of some cleanup at our garage. So that's been, taking up a lot of, his time, and as well as the employees' time. And I think that's all that I have for...
The engineer came down and they surveyed where the new
Yeah, if you want to say that
Crawford
one.
ditch.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to mention the fact, for all of you that have been here a while, there's a project started sometime, I don't know how many years ago, Crawford Ditch Project. It begins off of Cliffview, runs down behind our garage, and whenever they built that, it wasn't built right, drained right. So the engineer came down last week and they surveyed. They're going to put they're going to repair it the way it should have been put in when Cliffview was put in. It will be done before the end of this year. They'll start at Cliffview behind, I believe, Danny Crawford's home, and they're going to put in, I think,
A storm drain.
Yeah, a storm drain. I don't know how big a storm drain is going to be. I know they're going to put it past our garage and it's going to come out at the bottom of Route 56. So that Crawford Ditch project will be done within the next couple months.
And it's going to help the I&I onto that. It's going to help, you know, I always talk about the excessive amount of water when it rains, that there's no drainage. It goes right into the sewer. So that makes our operation harder, money-wise, staff-wise. That can definitely be eliminated. So they're going to put a drain around his area, a drain at our garage, and then a drain at the bottom to catch that.
Courtney, I got a question for you back on electricity. Has AEP told us before it gets cold weather that they'll be checking, like you said, on that before it gets real bad and cold?
Oh yeah, I have it this week.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, good.
So I tend to make sure that I have everybody updated
Just
at
want to
that
make sure.
point. I also wanted to make I guess an advertisement, you would say. It's the first annual Community Shred-It Day, and it's sponsored by Matco Services. It's free to all the Madison County residents, so it's not just pertained to London or Mount Sterling or Plain City. It's going to be on Saturday, October 27th, from 9 a.m. to noon on 204 Maple Street in London. So I did forward this to have this added to our website, if you guys didn't catch that. But all they're doing is they're recycling cardboard as well. So if you guys have any boxes, you don't need to remove your staples or paper clips. Everything will be shredded on site, so they're not going to be taking it somewhere and then shredding it. All paper and boxes will be recycled. So if you have any of those items, no plastic or vinyl, please. So if you guys are interested in that, I do have a flyer. I'll try and make some. I just got this today for the window as well for people that are paying their bills. But that's a good shred-it day. I know I haven't heard of a shred-it day here locally, you know, for some time. So if you guys have any important documents or that you would like to shred, that will be your opportunity. That's it on village updates.
Okay.
That's all that I have. I can go into my financial. Anybody have any questions before we move forward? Okay, so your first report is the payment listing. Very short. As you can see, we have the Reinhardt, Walters, and Danner. That would be your property insurance. The Madison County Sheriff's is the $63,000, which is our quarterly payment. And our testing and our chemicals, our usuals. Any questions on that? Okay, so the receipt listing is our next one. You'll see also the Village of Mount Sterling. Those are our receipts for the water and sewer payments that Misty talked about earlier. And Rita had come in on October the 1st at $65,548.04. Any questions on that? And the newly created is the comparison budget of appropriated. I also want to, as far as part of my financial report, most of you know, I know my finance team does know this, you know, my finance committee, that the auditors of state had come in on Tuesday, and when I always report to you guys that there's going to be changes or adjustments, you know, moving items from a line item to another to support our general fund, as well as some other line items, that was completed on Tuesday. So that was an all-day event on Tuesday that we had completed those adjustments. So you'll see that legislation in here as well, approving me to allowing me to do that. So again, your reports are going to look a little bit different from our last meeting, but once legislation's talked about, I can talk more in depth about that, because I'm sure you guys will have some questions on that, or you may have comments. So as you can see, this comparison budget and appropriated, it does show that the general fund is in a positive for $300,000. Again, I'll get to my legislation here that I can speak more in depth with that. Again, your street and your state highway is in the negative. And again, this is your budget compared to your appropriated. That's not your cash summary. but your cash summary follows. It shows here that your general is at 421,261 spot 17, as well as your street and your highway is still in the negative. Your water operating is at 232,343 spot 05. Are there any questions on that? Okay, your revenue status. Again, I like to show you not only what has been spent, but also the money that's coming in and what line item those are reported to. We always look at the general just because of the physical emergency, again, that we're under still. We have a commission meeting coming on October the 25th at 10 a.m. That is open to the public. And those have been recorded as well. So as you can tell, your revenue status, we are up 93%, which is great because that's what was over budgeted for revenues. And we'll be making those adjustments. Okay, next is appropriation status. Last meeting, I reported that we were at 105%. As you can tell on page 3 for year-to-date expenditures. Since those adjustments that we made, we are at 78%, which is where you want to be at for the start of October. We did make those adjustments. And I like to look at the water fund as well. Street is looking good. And again, a lot of these are below average, which is really good. The water fund is at 50%, which is great, because again, we should be at around 75%. So we've been really doing good at watching the spending in that, because that's my main concern on that. The sewer is at 50% as well. So that's good for expenditures. Your appropriation status shows that. Any questions on that? Okay, your RETA report that you show, that you should have, is that $63,000 that I had receipted on your receipt listing report. Any questions on that? Okay, and last but not least, I have the bank reconciliation. This is already sent to the state. It was reconciled on the 3rd of October, which is great, and it's been reconciled down to the penny. So there is no carryover, there is no missing funds, there is no unaccounted monies, and here's your report. And then if I can talk about my resolutions after you, if you need me to, or my legislation.
Finish with the
I am.
financial?
Yep.
Okay. In front of you, you have a payment listing report. Excuse me. I need a motion to accept the payment listing report.
Got that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote?
Flo?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
And Becky?
Yes.
In front of you, you have the receipt listing report she just went through. I need a motion to accept that.
I'll give you that motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote?
Lowell?
I have a comment on the item. The treasurer of the state of Ohio sent us 2 cents.
Yes. That's our rollback.
I'll vote yes. Need all 2 cents we can get.
You know, it's funny because Kathy at the bank said the same thing. She's like, what? I was like, I know. Okay, so Lowell said yes. Tom?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
And Becky?
Yes.
Mark, could you give that to
I need a motion to accept the comparison budget and appropriated report you have in front of you.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
and Becky.
Yes.
I need a motion to accept the cash summary by funds report. You
Had that
in front
motion,
of you.
sir.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Before you, you have the revenue status report. I need a motion to accept the revenue status report.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
and Becky.
Yes.
I need a motion to accept the appropriation status report you have in front of you.
You have that motion.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second. Oh.
Thank you. Vote.
Question. Now,
Yes,
does that include the resolutions tonight in this one?
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, I'll vote.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
I need a motion to accept the appropriation status report.
We just did
We
that.
just did that.
Rita.
RITA report. I need a motion to accept the RITA report in front of you.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
and Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion to accept the bank reconciliation report for September.
You have that motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second. I'll second. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
You're
Vote.
welcome.
Lowell,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
sorry, Rebecca,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
and Becky.
Yes.
Now, I've seen some eyes. Oh. Crap. I seen some eyes light up when she gave the. We have 300,000. Well, don't get too excited. There's going to be some adjustments made tonight that the auditor requires us to make. And she's going to go through them as soon as we get through the committee report meetings. Financial Committee, Rebecca Burns.
Okay, where we are right now, of course, we're reviewing the POs very carefully, watching expenditures, but right before, it was right before the last council meeting, there was information that I'd received that we could possibly use either capital improvement or general fund money to perhaps offset some of the water loan payments. And that was something I wanted to explore. So last Monday, we had a finance committee meeting, and we discussed that to see what the possibility might be. And of course, anything to reduce any of the burden off the residents or the businesses here in town, I think finance felt that it was worth exploring. What goes with that also is the money that was in the capital improvement fund at that time. It was over $200,000. We also found that there needed to be something called a 5-year plan in order to be able to use that money, which was something that we were just starting to discuss. We did not have a 5-year plan in place. So the finance committee meeting that we had last Monday, I think all members agreed that we needed to look at any possible thing that we could do to help reduce the burden to the residents and the businesses, because we know how devastating this will be to the people. Then we also looked at some of the capital improvement projects that we knew that we might need to make, such as purchasing water meters, looking into the option of a water tower. And these are just water type ones. What we did not take into account also, which we will have to, is streets, because the street fund we know doesn't have a lot of money. So there was a lot of things discussed, and then I had the opportunity, like Billy mentioned, to meet with the auditors on last Tuesday, and take some of the concerns. And what we found is that general fund money is really, if there's any major emergency here for anything, say a water main break here in town, once we make December's payment in the water fund and the wastewater fund, we may not have, if there's a water main break, there would not be enough money left in either of those funds to cover a major repair, for example. And the only place to draw it from would be the general fund, or if we need salt, or I'm not sure, just anything that's the emergency basis. And so we have to make sure that the village, all the needs are met, and that's what the auditors had said. Yes, you can use the money, but it would also be taken away from even emergencies that could come up. And that was the plus for the capital improvement. You had to have a 5-year plan, and there are things that we have to address for the sake of the village. And so it was, to me, continues to be a great learning experience, unfortunately. But that was, I told the finance committee I would follow through and see what the possibilities were. But really, at that time, anything excess that we might have in the general fund, it would not be responsible to try to use that money for the loan payments, because of it's the only money we have for emergencies. So that's basically where we stand in finance.
Pleasant Township, Becky Martin.
Yep, no new report really. They're still looking at different mowers to mow the ditches and things for next year, because this year's apparently wasn't doing a great job. And then also just a reminder that the recycling program for here in town, I believe I saw something on Facebook about it posted recently, and I know we'll have an update. Yep. But that will begin October 29th, 9:30 to 11:30. That will be in the United Church parking lot right over here. And there is a list with that of everything that they will accept, I saw online. And again, that will be on our village website as well. And it'll just be a 2-hour window, and you cannot leave things after the 2 hours. So get it all ready and packed up, and then there will be an attendant there to help you. That's it for township.
Becky, what are the hours?
I was told, 9:30 to 11:30.
29th or 27th?
October, I was told the 29th. Did you see the 22nd?
It's on the village's website. Let me pull it up.
Okay, well, it could have changed. So the last time I talked to him, it was going to be the last Monday, but being that there's 5 Mondays, maybe they did change it to the 4th Monday. I don't know.
Okay. We'll find out, sure, before the meeting's over.
The 22nd. It's posted on the website if you guys need it.
Well, there you
the
go.
Right-hand side. The 22nd from 9 to 11:30.
What day was the shred day?
I wrote down the 27th.
Which day is
Saturday, October 27th.
I have the 27th.
Was the 27th from 9 to noon.
of October?
Yes.
27th of October? That takes us to squad. Mr. Anderson.
Squad will meet Wednesday, October the 10th, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Okay. Fire. Tom Ward.
Excuse me. We had a meeting on the 25th of October. The BWC claims, I'm sorry.
Had a meeting when?
We had a meeting. The next meeting will be on October the 25th.
Oh, okay.
My apologies.
I understand.
The BWC claims for the firefighters, the 2 firefighters that was injured, they are going to be paid. So that was good news to them, tickled them pink. And the chief finally received a pager back from a person who's no longer with the fire department. And, excuse me, the chief is going to look at different manufacturers to compare new tanker trucks and see what options, and try to do get some more information. And the next meeting, like I say, will be held October the 25th, 2018.
Okay, thank you. Water, wastewater, Rebecca.
Okay, this past Wednesday we had a work session, and what it basically is the information that we recommended in finance, but then after discussing it with the auditors, I wanted to make sure that all of council understood the numbers. It's all about the funds being the ability to pay or not pay the loans. And I went over really the discussion that we had with the auditors about what the general fund and the capital improvements really needed to be used for. I just wanted everyone to be informed so that hopefully when either it comes to questions or voting or whatever, everyone can make their own informed decision. But we decided that we needed to review the water processing ordinance that's in effect. We want to make sure that it's fair. We want to make sure that, like with the suggestions that Misty presented earlier, anything, suggestions or ideas, but we want to make sure it's comprehensive and fair and well thought out, because we feel that we need to have one in place that is followed completely. And so we're going to start that. We have a work session this Wednesday at 5 o'clock where we'll be starting that process of reviewing. We've gotten copies of the ordinances from surrounding communities to see what their policies are as far as how many days before shut off and what the deposit is and just all kinds of different processing. So we're going to be working diligently on that to come up with either changes or a new water processing ordinance to be presenting down the road. And that's about it.
Okay. Streets, Rebecca Burns.
Okay. Really nothing to report at this time, except that as we start preparing for next year, we need to start making a list, as I mentioned, to come up with a 5-year capital improvement plan. We have to have specific projects listed that we adhere to. And we need to start here in the very, very near future, making a list of the critical items that we feel will need to be addressed in streets. And so that will be something that is kind of on the to-do list. And that's it.
Okay, Parks and Rec.
I was hoping Jack would be here at this time. Nothing to report.
Okay. Record of retention, Mr. Anderson.
Nothing at this time.
All righty. Nuisance and abatement. Tammy.
Our next meeting will be October 24th at 3:30, and I want to thank Courtney for helping me track down owners of vacant properties, and we're calling them, telling them to clean up or pay. And I also want to thank the mayor for going out and mowing my grass that is not getting mowed, and people are getting charged on their taxes for not mowing. That's been tagged and won't comply. So I've got the mayor out mowing for me. Thank you, Billy.
You're welcome.
And that's it.
When's your next abatement committee, did you say?
October 24th.
4th.
Yeah, 24th.
Okay, 3:30?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Block Watch, Mr. Ward.
I just want to remind everybody that Block Watch is not law enforcement. If you see something, call the law. Get them there first, and then you can get hold of Block Watch, and we can keep our eyes open, and we can spread the word around and get everybody to pay attention. And our next meeting will be on the 18th at right here in the town hall at 7 p.m. And that's all.
Thank you. October 18th, Tom?
Yes, sir.
What time again? I'm sorry.
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you all. That leads us into ordinances and resolutions. You all have before you now Ordinance 2018-54. This is an ordinance establishing the wastewater rate for the village of Mount Sterling. It is on its second reading. I need a motion to place Ordinance 2018-54 on its second reading.
I'll give you that motion.
Thank you. A second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell.
Yes.
Tom.
No.
David.
No.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
And Becky.
Yes.
Thank you.
Discussion.
Discussion?
I just want to bring this up. It's so hard for me. I know there's a lot of people on fixed incomes and stuff, and I've been fighting with this decision for 10 days, and I still can't. It's just tough for me. I know I've talked to so many people. It's just a hard decision to make, and I just got to go with my heart how I voted.
That's, yep. It's, I think every one of us, I can't speak for everyone, but has been agonizing over this because we know the fixed income people or the families that are barely making ends meet. The only thing I keep also thinking, and I think it's just the commitment I want to make to the community, is there's been discussion of ways to perhaps raise revenue down the road. And if we can come up with a way of selling water or doing something where our revenue pays for the loan or something, I would so love to be able to come back to this community and say, we are going to take this debt away, but we can't, there's no promises at this time or anything, because I know how heart-wrenching, this is such a hard decision.
That's the part I've been fighting. I had a couple come up to me and I just don't like the situation like where they got to make up their mind, either medicine, food, or water. And I've seen these situations, but I just had to vote with my heart. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stick to it.
Well, voting by your heart is not going to pay our $6 or $9 million debt that we're in. We need to have the auditor come in here and explain to everybody how much this community owes and how we're going to pay for it. And it will be paid. If it's not paid, they'll come down here and they'll make sure it's paid. We're all agonizing over this, what those people did to this community that was here before us. But this is a suggestion from the state auditor, how to take care of our debt. Because it's going to be taken care of one way or another. They've already told me, don't pass it. Default on a payment, and there'll be a man in that front door the next day. He'll have a suit on, and you'll be the first one he'll walk out the back door. And he was talking about me. And I said, why me? I've been working to get this raise. Don't worry, there'll be 6 people following you. And he'll set the rates. He'll set the rates. He'll make sure those loans get paid. Now she has looked at 360 degrees. She's thought outside the box, inside the box, around the box, to relieve some of this burden that we're putting on it. We're not putting it on them. The administrations that was here before us, they put it on us and the rest of the community.
Yeah, the way I know, like thinking out a month or so ago, and I think in the work session, one of the council members said that they were asked about something called Chapter 9 bankruptcy, for example, something for municipalities, but that was something brought to the auditor's attention, and we were told that we could not do that. What happens if we default on a loan? They said probably they would still set the rates, but they would probably be 2 or 3 times what we're seeing right now. And we wouldn't have, our voice would be taken away, and anybody using village water would be billed that. And it just, I mean, it's still upsetting to me because I know the lies upon which I've seen the loans. I know the inflated projections that allowed us to even get these loans, and it's not fair to the residents. I remember sitting in the audience and hearing the lies. And it isn't fair, but it is right now. As I said, I keep hoping that we're able to increase revenue or look at creative ways to still be able to turn this around. But unless we start collecting a little bit of money each month starting in January, we won't be able to make that payment. And I love Mount Sterling enough to believe that we can get through this. It's painful, but we have to start accumulating it in January or we won't have enough for that payment, that mid-year payment next year. And that's the numbers of it.
Thank you.
May I say, and I'll say it again before the meeting's over, you'll probably hear it 6 times, but there is a town meeting Wednesday at 7 o'clock where all your concerns will be addressed, and there'll be a PowerPoint on our exact debt, and hopefully we can, you know, it's still painful to have to pay for it, but at least hopefully some of you, you know, all of us can understand it a little better. So Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
And that will also be videotaped and placed on our village website as well as on YouTube, because we want everyone to have the opportunity to hear the presentation as well as the concerns and questions or comments from the residents that are able to attend.
That leads us into ordinance. We
That
voted
passed.
that.
55.
Passed.
Yes.
That leads us into ordinance 2018-55. This is an ordinance establishing the water rates for the village of Mount Sterling. It's on its second reading. I need a motion to place 2018-55 on its second reading.
I'll give you the motion.
Thank you. A second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
No.
David,
Nope.
Rebecca,
Yes?
Tammy,
Yes.
and Becky.
Yes.
Passed. That leads us to resolution 2018-57. This is a resolution authorizing Courtney Bricker to make adjustments between line items pursuant to a request from the state auditor's office and declaring this an emergency.
You have that motion?
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Oh, we didn't, okay.
Oh.
You didn't want me, nobody needs a discussion?
We'll do that.
Courtney, can you explain just a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes, this is to suspend the rules.
No discussion, it's to suspend the
No.
rules,
Okay.
so
No.
it's just a vote, yes or no.
Okay.
David, Rebecca, seconded.
Yes.
Okay,
Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes?
Tammy,
Yes.
and Becky.
Yes.
Now I need a motion to put this on the first, second, and third readings tonight.
Have that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
No discussion.
We're open for discussion. You're right. Right now. Does anybody need this explained? Remember when she told you a while ago we had all this money in the bank? Well,
Taking it away.
she's going to take it all away.
Now, Courtney,
So-
does that distribute to something else then, or?
Well, in this particular resolution that you guys have, it does show here that we have made adjustments to specific line items to correct balances in request of the state auditor's office in regards to your 5-year physical emergency, because I think a lot of residents, a lot of people are forgetting that we're still under a physical emergency. So this is in pursuit that this has to be corrected and allowing me to move items and monies in between these line items. Again, it's not a changing budget, it's not a changing appropriation, it's not a changing what we budgeted and approved on for, 2018. This is our physical emergency for our general fund.
Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes?
Tammy?
Yes.
And Becky?
Yes.
Thank you. Now I need a motion to adopt Resolution 2018-57.
I'll give you that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes?
Tammy?
Yes.
And Becky?
Yes.
That leads us to ordinance 2018-58. This is an ordinance amending the 2018 budget, adjusting appropriations in the general fund, street fund, and state highway fund to accurately reflect to the correct fund balances as determined by the auditor of the state of Ohio during this fiscal year. I need a motion to, declaring this emergency. I need a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes?
Tammy?
Yes.
And Becky?
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion to put this on the first, second, and third reading.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Vote.
Discussion.
Discussion first. Thank you.
Okay, so the discussion here is the amount. Now, this is an ordinance that will be sent to the county, Madison County, which I will hand deliver it probably Wednesday. And this is changing the budget for adjusting appropriations in the general fund. The street fund that has always been in the negative will now become positive. The state auditors are wanting us to make those two funds, which is the state highway and the street funds, to be a positive. So this is not a surprise. This is to be expected when we started to do all these fund adjustments and balance adjustments. And what it's allowing us to do is to remove $292,697 from the general fund, to transfer to the street fund of $182,737, to transfer to the state highway fund of $109,960. So this is a change in your budget. It was recommended by the state auditors that this should happen.
And it was after hearing this where I thought we had extra money in the general fund to once again maybe offset the payments, knowing these adjustments were coming up and hearing about these on Tuesday. The general fund is going to have a lot
less. It's probably
is it going to be in the
100,000.
negative?
It's going to be 100,000, and then there's still an audit that's going to be performed as well that will probably make the general fund go back.
Meaning the excessive money I thought we might have access to some of really is not going to be there because it needs to offset the funds that were in the negative, the street and the state highway.
Vote.
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Thank you. Now I need a motion to pass ordinance 2018-50.
You have that motion, sir.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And David?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
And Becky?
Yes.
Thank you. That leads us to ordinance 2018-59. This ordinance is amending the 2018 budget, adjusting appropriations in the general fund, capital outlay fund, and capital improvement fund, voiding activity in capital improvement fund during fiscal year ending in December 31st and declaring this an emergency. I need a motion to suspend the rules for 2018-59. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
I need a motion to place this on the first, second, and third reading.
You got it.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell?
Yes.
Oh, did you want discussion?
If they want a discussion before the vote, that's fine.
You have to have a discussion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so what this ordinance is this is also in pursuit of and by the state auditors that I am moving funds because, again, we did not have a capital, well, I don't want to say we, but as previous administration did not have a capital improvement fund or a capital improvement plan, a 5-year plan approved to allow them to set up a capital improvement fund. So what they're having me do is they are now removing that money from the capital outlay fund and putting it back into the general fund. So the general fund here shows that they're going to void the capital improvement altogether because there has not been a plan created when you draft a capital improvement fund. So they have asked me to go ahead and remove these monies. Again, this will go to the county for a adjusted amended certificate, and I'll give you guys all a copy as needed.
And the reason we're passing this money around from account to account is they're doing an audit from years ago. So each year, the past administrations didn't pay the proper bills out of the proper funds. They didn't put money in certain funds. And they're making this all aware of us now. The general fund, we get rid of taxes. And that is what is supposed to pay all the bills. The water and the sewage is self-sustaining. All the water and all the sewage is supposed to pay for itself. RETA income tax is not supposed to. The only reason we're doing it now is because the auditor's allowing us to do it because we're in a fiscal emergency. But they want that stopped. They don't want money, and I don't either. Every time you take $100,000 out of that general fund, then that's money less we've got to operate this whole town on. And we've got a lot of stuff going on in town. And we're going to have emergencies coming up. So that's why I want to get this water and sewage to pay its own way. It's terrible to the public that it has to be done this way, but there's no other recourse. Trust me. We've talked for days, months, and you've tried to come up with a half a dozen solutions, ideas.
And ran those past the auditors.
And run them by the auditor. And the auditor says that's not working. This is what you need to do. You need to go with the suggestion that was sent, and it was a minimal suggestion. We're not going to have a lot of money in the coffers because we're overcharging. Most of that money is going to be paid on the debt. The debt that somebody else made, that you all didn't make. The people sit up here before us. We're paying for their...
But the audits are being conducted. That's why you're seeing these adjustments all the
Right.
time when you hear me talk about balance adjustments. That means that the village was unauditable. Public record, unauditable. Deemed by the state, unauditable. Guess what? You didn't do what you're supposed to do. Unauditable. So now what they're going to do? They're going to go back and retro back everything that's ever been done. And they're bringing it back to our attention.
And we're correcting it. Or they'll correct it for us. They'll allow you 6 people and me and her, they'll allow her to correct this problem. But if you don't want to correct this problem, they will. They've already told us. They don't have a problem. Now, I need a vote
Yep.
for second, third reading for 2018-59. Vote.
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes?
Tammy,
Yes.
and Becky.
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion for passage of ordinance 2018-59.
Yeah, that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
Lowell,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes?
Tammy,
Yes.
and Becky.
Yes.
Okay. That takes care of the ordinances and resolutions, and that will run us into roundtable.
I'd like to bring up tonight, tomorrow's the last day to register the vote, and this is a very important election going into the Senate race and the governor race. And I guess you all watch the news, how important this election is going to be, who controls the Senate and the House of Representatives. And if you haven't registered, definitely register, because a lot rides on our country, I think, right now at this time. I just want to speak up for that, because we get these news networks, they tell us one thing or the other, and I just think it's a great idea, and get out there and vote for who you think does the best job.
I agree.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
I was glad to hear that you had a response from the county engineer.
Yeah.
It's the same promise we've had for almost 4 years.
I know.
And
I heard
I
about it.
hope that he
Yeah.
is realizing what he's doing.
They're going to do it. They're actually right now going to submit. Now we have to pay for the storm sewer itself.
The
They're going to
materials.
do the work. The material we're paying for because it's
With our
Billy.
machinery.
With
No,
theirs.
They're going to come down with their machinery and put everything in.
However, we have some machinery that they are looking at to borrow in the future.
Or maybe buy.
And could, yeah.
We don't know.
Yes, we know,
We know. But
and that's fine. I don't have any
taking good
problem
care
with
of our
that.
stuff.
but they've promised and promised and promised.
I know. We want to be good neighbors
We're
to
gonna have
all
to
the
watch
communities.
for election of a new county engineer sometime too.
Okay.
I'd just like to thank everyone who came out this past weekend, Friday and Saturday. We had some events in the community, a shop hop and a street market, and it was the final one for the season. Well, minus some holiday stuff that we're going to have going on, but it was nice to see the residents out and walking up and down the streets and supporting their local businesses and their local vendors. A couple of things, the Chamber of Commerce has come in. Well, I did want to also mention, I think the brick count at the Veterans Monument across the street, I believe Lisa said it's right around 70, and I think she was placing that order today.
She was.
So if you had good intentions to get your bricks ordered and you haven't done it, you could probably give her a really quick call tomorrow. But you know, I know that's something that's really important, and it's gonna beautify, you know, the community as well as commemorate those
They're
veterans.
going to have them ready by November 11th?
Yes, that's why they had to place the order, so they would be
Good, yeah.
installed by
Yeah.
Veterans Day. I know we have another new business in town right here, a flooring store. Just wanted to give a shout out to them. They're going to have a ribbon cutting soon. If you get a chance, just stop in. They seem to be very nice people, and they've done a nice job in there. I think Rebecca mentioned this before, but there's not going to be a Ghoul School this year. Just different reasons. I know we've had it for probably 3 or 4 years, and we will not be having a Ghoul School at the old elementary this year. So that's sad, but you know, change. The trick or treat, as mentioned before, is the 31st. That's Wednesday the 31st from 6 to 7:30, and that will be followed by a pet and child parade, costume parade, and everyone will meet out at the gazebo after trick or treat and parade down to the Dairy Freeze. So just a mention about that. And the Chamber of Commerce is still looking at, hopefully we're going to still have community Thanksgiving dinner this year. I know it's still in the works. The American Legion has been wonderful in years past. If you've never partaken of that meal, it's a free to everyone in the community. We actually will deliver it to you. You're welcome to come out to the American Legion and eat there, or we can deliver food to you. So we are working on that, and hopefully that will happen again. And that's usually the weekend before Thanksgiving. So we'll have more updates on that. And then last but not least, Christmas in the Village this year will be on Friday, November the 30th. And that's when we'll have our tree lighting, and the choir will perform, and there'll be other things going on that evening. And then Saturday, December the 1st, there'll be activities through the chamber, the community, and the community center. And then that evening there'll be an illuminated parade. And we do hope, we had a great turnout as far as people watching the parade. Everyone loved it, but they wished it was longer. So we encourage everyone who can to come and join in the illuminated parade. So that's coming up. So, again, don't forget about the town meeting Wednesday, 7 o'clock. The town meeting is here Wednesday, yes.
At 7 p.m.
Anybody else?
Tomorrow, scholarship dinner will be held at the First United Methodist Church. The money raised from the scholarship goes to Madison Plains students. It stays local. So the scholarship committee has been in progress for many years. They give out lots of money. They give it out all to our students.
Good.
So that's tomorrow at the United Methodist Church.
I already got my ticket.
Good.
It's a good dinner too. It does. It's a good dinner.
Yes, it is.
Anybody else? That leads us to visitors. That's you all out there. Yes.
Could we have you stand and state your name? There's some people watching videos.
Yeah, you're on, yeah.
And
you're
would
on
like for you guys to
camera,
state your
yeah.
name.
I can't hear.
Sorry.
Okay, Vito here, Fools. I have a question for you, Mark. Who holds our loan? Who is the holder of our loans?
OWDA is the one who administers the loan. Those loans are sold out on the market, I believe.
So is that the state?
The state.
So the state holds the loan, and the state auditor then becomes not just an auditor, but an enforcer, doesn't he?
Well, I don't think that they're the enforcer. I think these loans are out in the state buys bonds, or the state sells bonds. So these bonds are out and purchased by individuals like yourself and financial institutions. And then it's on the full faith and credit of the state of Ohio, and also the full faith and credit of the village of Mount Sterling.
Could you repeat that last part?
The full faith and credit of Mount Sterling and the state of Ohio.
So, I'm sorry. Why can't we go bankrupt?
Because the state of Ohio won't let you go bankrupt, and it's not a general fund bankruptcy. You have the revenue in order to pay those water and sewer bills. So those water and sewer bills basically are the revenue source that you have agreed to give over to the state for the payment of the bonds or notes in this case.
Gotcha. So it's really not. So we're not indebted to the town, we're indebted to the state. Each one of us living in town is now indebted directly.
No, you're not personally indebted to the state of Ohio. The village is indebted to the state of Ohio. The village owns the water and sewer plant. And you have pledged basically the revenue, the income stream as payment on those bonds or notes from OWDA.
Yes.
May I follow up on that?
Yes, you may, Julia.
Then it almost seems like the state is being incredibly callous, and I'm not naive or whatever, but I know some people can afford it, and some people, first of all, aren't even aware what's really going on because the word's not out easily. Not everybody's on the internet, but I can't help but think that some people can't pay this, and the state, it just seems like they're callous about the subject. To add $50 a month seems huge for some people, and the state, from what we're hearing, the state's not willing to budge at all on that?
No.
Change loans at all?
No.
So here's another question that follows hers. So that means there are some people that are just not going to pay their water bills. Does that mean that the people that are paying their water bill all of a sudden will see another $50 on top of the $50?
No. No. If you use water in this town, you pay a water bill. If you don't pay the water bill, it's going to be shut off. Now that's their attitude. Ask her. She'll tell you. They'll tell her in a minute what your ordinance says, and if they use the water and they don't pay the bill, then you shut it off. And people seem to think that somehow that whoever passed this ordinance is the village is making money on these fees, these late fees, and these whatever fees. Well, I got news for you. Hardly nobody pays the fees. What we expect, me and her, is the water bill and sewer bill to be paid. We know how tough it is for some of these families. We see them every day. We listen to them every day. And we feel sorry for them. But the next day, the auditor comes in here and they want to know, why is this bill not being paid? Why is this water still on? You have an ordinance to follow. So she, more than anybody, has been walking a tightrope for 6 months now. Between her heart going out to those people that can't pay their bill, and then having the state come in and go all through her paperwork and her books and ask her all kinds of questions why this is not turned off, why that's not turned off, why aren't you collecting this turn-on fee, why aren't you collecting this late fee? Because we don't think it's right. We just need to get the water and sewer bill paid.
So that if the state agrees to that $50,
Pardon?
if the state agrees to that $50, if they say that satisfies them, and it proved that there's not enough money in 5 years to keep on paying the loan because maybe some people have moved out and things like that, that means that they are going to have to live with not having enough, or what are they going to do?
If
they agree, if you agree to what they force you to do now,
yes,
does that mean they are bound by that themselves as well, all the way till the end of the loans?
no.
So basically,
No. Doesn't work that way, Pierre. No. This is a water rate increase simply so we don't file bankruptcy in June. We're not telling you 2 years from now there's not going to be another water increase.
Correct.
Because of some really stupid loans that was made.
But you know what? I have a question.
Okay,
Can you
ask.
please state your name so that the recorders can pick you up, please?
Diane Spradlin,
Thank you.
and I prefer to sit if you don't mind.
Yeah, I just needed you to state your name, is all I asked.
To follow up on what these nice people were kind of getting at, it seems to me that there was a loan application made with the Ohio Water Development Authority, which is OWDA, okay? That loan application was submitted by our engineer at the time was IBI, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and for some reason, they're not our engineer anymore, correct?
Correct.
Did we fire them?
We did.
Okay. So, these folks, incompetents, apparently, submitted a loan application that had bogus numbers on it, apparently, because there were inflated revenue numbers.
That's right.
These engineers, let's talk about who the past administration is that you, Mr. Martin, keep talking about. Well, let's, hit the nail on the head here.
Okay.
We paid an engineer, IBI, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Lots.
Millions.
Yeah.
Millions.
Millions?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
To submit an application, a loan application with the OWDA, promising them, just like if somebody goes and gets a home mortgage, you have to prove to the bank, you have a revenue source, you have a job, you can pay your loan with your interest, etc., etc. The village did the same, right?
Yes.
Because of IBIs on their say-so, telling basically the state that the village would have a revenue source that would meet the capital and the interest and whatever on these loans.
Right.
Well, the numbers were inflated, correct, Rebecca?
Absolutely.
They gave them, in effect, bogus numbers. Just like if you went to the bank to get a home loan and you said, well, you know what? This is what I make. I've also got these revenue sources, blah, blah. The bank agrees or gives you the loan, but maybe you don't have some of those revenue sources. So why isn't their feet being put to the fire because of their incompetence, not the incompetence of the previous council, council can only vote on, correct,
Right.
Mr. Anderson, on, you know, the numbers the engineers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, projected
Yeah.
and sold
Yeah.
to the OWDA,
Yeah.
that we could handle it, that
Yeah.
the village could handle it.
Right.
And now we're finding out belatedly that the revenue, the numbers were inflated, correct?
Correct. And,
The
yeah.
numbers were inflated.
And we're talking a number of loans. It's not just one loan. There's probably, I don't even know, 6 or 7 outstanding is what's making up the mess that we're in right
This
now.
incompetent engineering firm.
Right, starting way back.
Why don't they have any liability here?
You'll have to
We
ask the
made
state
decisions.
auditor that.
We made decisions based, correct, Mr.
Right.
Mayor, former mayor,
Yeah.
on what this incompetent engineering firm sold to the state. And the state basically bought a bill of goods. And now our residents, our seniors that can barely live on what they're getting now
Yeah.
for food, medicine. I have an 84-year-old mother. She lives in Maine.
Okay.
Thank God she doesn't live in this village.
Okay.
Well, if she did, I'd be taking care of her, for sure,
Okay.
to get her through. But not all seniors out there have somebody to get them through, to help them get through.
We realize that.
They will go without food.
Well,
We
They
realize
will
that.
cut back,
We
cut their
realize
bills
that.
in half, their medicine, and so forth. And this is this whole situation is a sham.
Yeah.
And IBI should be held accountable
They should be.
for what they've done to this village.
They should
What
be.
they did to the village.
In
They
order,
should be.
Because
right,
if we knew, you know, that these numbers were wrong, there would have been adjustments made, you know, all along.
Okay.
Or we wouldn't have applied for the loan in the first place.
exactly.
And now here we are, our residents having to carry this on their backs.
You're absolutely right.
That is wrong.
And
That's
And
absolutely
I
right.
want to know why IBI isn't being hauled into court.
I don't have a clue. I don't deal
Well,
with
let
IBI.
me say one thing, and you know, that's why I have been sitting here for the last month or so, digging through every scrap of paper. You can get copies of all these loans and see the information from OWDA as a public record request. I've been doing that and going through paper, and I have even talked to a couple of attorneys, just out of curiosity, because I can't stand the fact that the residents have to pay for this. Now,
Some of them just can't.
well, exactly, but what I was told, and here, this is where we are right now, is there a possibility of a civil suit? There could be. How long does that get drawn out for? Can the village wait, if it gets drawn out for 2 or 3 years, that won't get us through the next loan payment. I mean, that's what I'm looking into, because,
Maybe the OWDA can give us a stay.
Well, that's-
Give us a period of time.
there's still
to
things I'm
adjust
looking
to
at.
the shock
Right.
of what this village is dealing with
Right.
now.
I have not been given, I've talked to the auditors about all these different topics, about how outraged I am, et cetera, and
And what the auditor tell you?
but right now, the facts are that you can't, unless you can't count on it. They said, why don't you see if you can renegotiate with OWDA? Why don't you see if you can restructure? There's all these why don't you sees, but right now our backs are against the wall. And that's why I say, unfortunately, if something changes on that, I will be fighting like the Dickens to take any fees off the residents. But it's the facts where we are right now. Do you think that this is the end of the story? I don't think so. But right now, it's what we're kind of, our backs are against the wall a little bit financially. And
They
that's,
are. And I didn't hire IBI. I fired them.
Where did
I'm
the
glad you did.
Yeah.
where did the numbers come from that they gave for revenue?
good
They
question.
made them up.
I mean,
question.
the revenue that was going to come from the bills,
There
the
was-
money collected.
Well, there was one loan, for example, digging the wells, back in 2013, we took the loan out. Only because look at this, it said 729 residents, we're talking residential income. I think it showed, the current was $166,000 revenue it brought in. In 1 year, it was going to increase by 14 residents, but the revenue was going to increase to 333,000. Residential, plus Baroque's was going to be added to it. Really? When was that ever discussed? Back in 13, it never was. It's outrageous that this is the type of thing that they base the approval of those loans on.
Right, and that was fraudulent.
Oh, I'm infuriated by it, believe me.
Burr Oaks, you know, why were they on the loan
It shouldn't,
papers with OWDA?
that's what I mean. It's not, to me, it's not right.
I
It's,
think someone from OWDA needs to haul their butts to the next water meeting. When is it, Wednesday? Wednesday. Haul somebody in from OWDA, because I think a lot of us would like to talk to them.
That'll be up to WDA. Yes, ma'am.
Someone needs to get on the phone and call them, Mr. Mayor. Maybe you can call them and tell them to get somebody here.
I'm not calling them. I never took the loans out.
You're the mayor.
I never took the loans out. You did.
No.
Yeah. The prior administrations took them out, not me. I come on to get it
You are
straightened
the
out,
mayor.
not to create more problems.
Our problem right now is that there were inflated numbers that acquired.
We all agree with that. We all agree with that.
So why can't OWDA?
You think the auditor, we haven't run that by the auditor? You think, what, we just started this? We've been working on this for months. Ask her. She's been working overtime on it.
I've talked with Rebecca.
She can find out all kinds of stuff. She can tell you.
I've talked to her.
But the bottom line is, the auditor says increase the rate. They told me a year ago to increase them. And we've passed it on and passed it on. Because the prior administrations was supposed to be increasing them every year. That's part of the loans that they filled out.
Would you like to address that? Because there were no bells, whistles, sirens, not one in the last few years that I was on council.
Well,
saying
that was IBI. I fired him.
That was IBI.
I don't care what happened. I come on to get it straightened out. Yes. I'm sorry, honey. Stand up.
Yeah, can you please just kind of...
Yes.
Okay. A deep breath.
Yes.
My name is Joyce Phillips. Thank you,
Hi,
Courtney
Joyce.
Bricker, for all that you did. Rebecca Burns, I appreciate your input. It gives me a better insight as to exactly what's going on. Mark Pitstick, aren't you our village attorney?
I am.
You got something to say about all this? I mean, are we seeking outside counsel, asking questions of other counsel, Rebecca? Did I hear you say that? When we have counsel, I thought?
My counsel is strictly for, limited to the village and ordinances, resolutions, and meetings. I'm not going out and suing IBI because...
Well, no one's asking you to. I'm just saying for informational reasons, I wasn't sure why we weren't just calling you for that.
Yeah, and that's beyond my contract with the village.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I've got a lot, got to process. So, I know Misty made some comments about some changes in what we charge. I hope we reconsider that. As a homeowner and a landlord, I would not be happy with some of those suggested changes. So hopefully there's a lot of discussion about that. Not saying they're all wrong or not, but hopefully tenants and landlords would have some opportunity there to be able to address some of those, and we would be willing to do so.
We'll have discussions about it.
Definitely. We're open to suggestions.
They just don't run down the hall and say, hey, let's do this tomorrow.
I understand that.
All these ideas are...
You guys know when it's mentioned publicly,
yes,
and it won't be by me, even on Facebook, you know how things...
Oh, certainly. I certainly know how things get out.
I certainly don't want that to happen.
I agree. I agree. Especially on Faceless book.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mick.
Mick Phillips. I have a question. This new waste treatment plant that we built.
Okay.
When are we supposed to get all this?
We didn't rebuild the wastewater plant. We went in and renovated the wastewater plant.
No, it's new.
Talking about
the whole thing. I mean,
Almost all of it.
Well, we supposed to
there
get
was something.
raw material, raw sewage from other people and make money on doing that?
Yeah, it was supposed to pay for itself is
So
what I remember them saying.
Where's it at?
It didn't work. they was told at the time, don't build it, don't build it, don't build it. They were told by people that have told me, I told them when they started on that, do not build that sludge building. That's money, throw it away. It doesn't work in Ohio. It doesn't work in a small community like this. It just doesn't work. First of all, it takes a person to be down there 8 hours a day. And it takes chemicals, and it takes electricity, and it takes everything to get this to the point where it's really not profitable. It's not profitable. They tried it and tried it and tried it. They were doing it when I became mayor. And we were going in the hole big time. I said, shut it down. Shut it down. It's not going to work. After talking to wastewater experts in other communities, they said that's the craziest thing. That's a pipe dream somebody had. That was just to make engineering. It don't work.
So how much did we lose on that?
I think the building was.
I forget how many.
There's still loans on it.
Millions.
Yeah.
I mean, and I remember sitting where you are, Mick, and hearing previous administrations saying, it's award winning, it's going to pay for itself, people are going to buy this sludge from us, et cetera, you know, and same thing with the last water rate increase in 2015, that alone was going to pay for the new water plant. And those are the type of things that previous village administrators and stuff had told all of us sitting out there. And so unfortunately, this award-winning wastewater plant that people were going to pay for all the sludge and it would pay for itself, we have to pay to have the sludge hauled away. No one's buying it.
We have to pay to have our own hauled away?
Yes.
Yes.
We do. We do. In the end result, what's left, we have to pay to haul it away. Now we got $1 million building sitting down there that's not doing anything because it was somebody's pipe dream, somebody's gross exaggeration, somebody's wish. It's you know, it's not working. It won't work, and we're not losing any more money down there.
And that's because IBI, I mean, obviously there was a village administration and stuff that they worked with that sold all of this to the village, that stood behind IBI and said, yes, we approve of all this. And, you know, and those are just some of the different, what we say, the lies that we were all told over the years. Because, as I said, there's multiple loans. These go back both water and wastewater. And it's sad that it's the good people of Mount Sterling and the businesses that have to pay the price for all that.
Yes, sir.
For some of those things in the future, can we learn a lesson from it?
Most definitely.
Hang on. So that maybe we can let some private firm build something like that in the future, and we simply pay for the services. Just keep that in mind.
Right. We do things. We do things a lot different than in the past years. Everything is checked, and whoever made the, I don't deal with stupid very well, but whoever made the remark that there's a good old boys or girls club, there's not. Everything goes through everyone. Everything goes through me, through her, and then them, and then him. I'm not going to allow her and these people to look like fools 5 years from now. Trust me. Yes.
I've got one question.
Go ahead.
Now, you have said that for the last past loan, there was a $20 fee added on to our
water bill.
Water bill, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, now you add on another $50 onto that. That's $70. That's quite a bit of money going out the first of the month.
We all realize that, Pam. You think that we haven't said that to each other for the last year? You think we're not agonizing?
Now wait a minute, please, will you let me finish?
Yes, I will.
Is there, for the people that don't have that money, is there any other services out there for Madison County to be able to help these people?
We have sent families to Madison County,
And what if they?
and they have actually helped people with their water bills.
There's a lot of resources at Madison County. It's not
put that on the,
I'm getting the list together. I want to make sure I have everything accurate. It's not it's a one-time.
Thank you.
Most of them are one time a year. It's not ongoing monthly.
Right.
But there's a lot. There's just not for the bills. There's also for like air conditioning, smoke detectors, windows. There's a whole lot out there that I'm like, what's the catch? And there is no catch.
Well, I
work on the.
I used to work for the American Red Cross, and there are a lot of people that were in need for whatever reason, being burned out with fire, whatever. But those resources, like you said, it's usually a one-time.
And it's
not a lot.
Once a year. Well,
And it's not a lot.
There's a CHIP program that, they'll pay, it can be up into the thousands. It can be all your bills. But there's also work done on the person requesting it, like some classes to be taken and things like that.
Well, I just want something out there, especially for the ones that only get paid a month, to get a little extra help. And if you bring it forward and let them hear this from you guys, that would help them.
Yeah. And it's not just that elderly, like on a fixed income, there's young people that's still on a fixed income. They're not allowed any, overtime. They don't have any extra time. They have kids they have to be home with. So, it's across the board. And it's awful. It really is.
We all agree on that. It's awful. It's terrible. But it is what it is. Anybody else got a question? Yes, sir.
Gerald Spradlin.
Yes, sir.
Have you folks double-checked all these numbers, and are you comfortable with what's in here?
We are. We are. We doubled, tripled, quadrupled checked. We've checked and rechecked, Carol. That's the minimum.
There are a couple of things that I have a question about, and I think that it's probably best if I have them answered on Wednesday.
That'll be fine.
There's some false information in here.
Okay.
Regarding current 2016 rates, net rate study, and some extrapolation. So I'll ask Wednesday.
Very good.
To straighten it out.
Very good. Anybody else? Go right ahead, honey.
I want to go back to this loan thing.
Okay.
And I'm a retired banker, so I have difficulty understanding why the village can't go back to OWDA and resubmit a new application for a loan to renegotiate or wipe out the old with the new.
Right.
Yeah,
I can only.
You guys are doing everything you can.
I can only tell you.
That's why this is on 3 readings. This is why it's on 3 readings.
Right. And I can only tell you what the auditors tell us in private.
Okay.
If you want to go back and try to renegotiate, go ahead. Good luck. But I'm telling you, they covered themselves very well. They had a very good lawyer, the best, to write those up. And he's got OWDA covered. Now, you're more than welcome to go back and try it. Renegotiate. But guess what? It's not going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to make your payment in December and you're going to make your payment in June. That's what's going to happen. That's what you ought to focus on. And that's what we're focused on.
And we've exhausted our resources to go back on this engineer company.
I have no. When I came in, I fired them because of. She had already mentioned to me some of the things that they exaggerated terribly, and what she told me in 30 or 40 minutes, I knew that this group was a bunch of con artists, in my opinion. And so I talked to other engineering people. And this company has a terrible reputation. of milking small communities like this. I talked to 2 or 3 people with engineering, and they told me the same thing. IBI is notorious. But you have to understand, IBI was really involved in this village. They had a lot of friends in this village. In the right places is why. So when I come on board, we talked. I said, that's it. They're done. And she and I both had to tell them, don't come back. Matter of fact, they came back. They did a tour of your new water plant out here to show Commercial Point what a fine job they did for $6 million. And they didn't even tell us they was having a tour. We found out through someone else. We go out there and there's IBI with all these people that show from Commercial Point. Look what we did. We can get you $6 million. Don't worry about it. Look at this water plant. And we kicked them out.
Yeah, by lying. By basically lying.
You're right, Diane. You're right. We all agree they lied. They exaggerated.
What was their cut of the $6 million?
Pardon?
What was IBI's cut of the $6 million?
Grant.
It was
never a grant, it was a loan.
It was a loan.
It was a loan. JCAR, to build the plant, it was about 6.5 million, somewhere in there. And I believe OWDA had a small fee in there, but probably the rest was, I would think, IBI.
Yeah.
Planning, design, and engineering. Usually according to who we're using now, environmental engineering, it should run no more than 10% is usually the engineering fee. On every single loan, they were 20 to 25%.
Yes, ma'am.
And they already have that money. I mean,
it's done. They've done spent it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I appreciate your input.
Yes.
But I don't think you answered my question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Ask again.
Have we exhausted all of our resources in going after that engineering company? So I'm thinking.
I'm on YouTube.
We have not exhausted every
We have
opportunity.
not. We're on
Absolutely
YouTube.
not. That is why we've done it on
I'm
3
not on
readings.
YouTube.
Yeah. So
And-
on 3 readings, that's why this has been placed on 3 readings, because like Rebecca's saying, things are coming about, ideas are coming about. How can we do this? To say that we've exhausted everything, I'm going to say no.
No.
Absolutely not.
The Attorney General's involved.
And-
I'll leave
and-
that out, okay?
Yeah, and
So,
just
anything else?
just to reiterate with that, I understand like you want like an answer and we want them held accountable. We do too. So behind the scenes, every avenue we promise you will be exhausted.
and continuing to be exhausted.
We will not stop until they say you have no more recourse, it's over. But in the meantime, our whole point is in the meantime, we have to pay that debt. So we have to implement this rate hike, for the debt so we can pay it next summer. So, if something comes about and we sue IBI and we get a windfall, you have our word that we will turn around and make that, reflect on your bills. We won't build another plant or something,
Just one last question. In the meantime, to use your lead-in there, is there anything that you can do for the elderly, those that are on a total shoestring budget? Is there, that are at or below, say, the poverty, guidelines? And I don't mean just seniors, but there are families that are at or below the poverty guidelines. Is there any way they could maybe pay less than the 50 extra? Can you cut back maybe to half of that to assist these people?
So
Is there
we
any
would have to
way- I guess
penalize.
what I'm asking is that $50 additional a month, which is on top of the 20, as Dan said, 70, and there are, 768 meters? Is that about right?
Yep.
Okay. is that the top end? I mean, is there any way that can be scaled back for?
We can change it any way you want to change it, Diane.
I mean,
We
I
can
don't- I
put
don't
the
know what
burden
numbers are.
on the married family with 5 kids. We can put the burden on them. We made it as fair on every household as we could make it.
Can I say
These
something?
are minimum charges, too. These are minimum charges.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
We made it as possibly fair as you can make it. Everybody has to pay the equal amount on the loan. We raised the water very little.
And that doesn't matter if they use 1 unit or 5 units. So
Right.
you've got a senior that's using 1 unit of water.
It's paying the same as me on the debt and paying the same as her and her on the debt. Because we all assumed that debt. So we all had to pay for it.
That just doesn't seem equitable.
You know, it's terrible. It's terrible, Diane. But we didn't get in this mess. We were sent in here to try to clean it up. Now, if somebody can clean it up, somebody's got good ideas, go ahead, try it.
Well, I think
Call the auditor, call the attorney general, call IBI. But we have looked everywhere. We've been doing this for months, arguing and having meetings and everything else, and paying good money for a professional to do it, which took him over 2 months. We said we want to make it fair, we want to cover the debt.
You're talking about the new engineering?
Yes,
Engineering firm?
yes.
So
And that's what they came up with.
So what would they pay to come up with their numbers, these ordinances or whatever?
I don't know.
$5,000.
Yeah, Mick.
Cheaper than IBI?
One more.
How much is our biannual payments?
It is 490,000.
In December.
In December.
And then there'll be another one due in June.
For 490,000?
For 30 years.
It won't be that.
For 30
much.
years.
Yeah, if you're talking annual, that's what it is.
And that's wastewater and water
Yes,
combined?
yeah.
We need a yard sale.
490 every 6
Bake
months?
sale, yard sales.
And all of this, and again, if you guys don't have copies of that rate study, do you guys have copies of that?
It's the one that's online, we can download.
Yes,
It's
but the
27
ones that
days.
don't have internet, if you guys want to have a hard copy, it actually outlines all of that. It outlines all of the loans, and not to add on to this, and I guess this is all going to be covered on Wednesday's meeting.
Okay.
Those loans that they had taken out, they never closed, so guess what? You're paying on balloon payments too. So you're paying on money that you're not even using, and you
Now,
didn't use.
she knows what we're talking about. She's shaking her head. She knows what balloon payments are.
So those are 2 loans. They actually, what they try to do is refinance it and roll it into another loan. So you've got 3 loans rolled into one. With, guess what? A new APR on that.
And that's 490,000 every 6 months.
Well, I'm talking annual. She asked if it was annual.
Annual. It's
And
about,
that's just water. Again, in your loan
Same on
things, you guys have, in your, the sewer and water is included in this. This is why the sewer is being affected, because again, you have loan payments on that as well.
I'm just trying to
Okay,
get the numbers.
we're good?
So that
We
people
good?
know that they
Huh?
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
What's the total debt per year for sewer and water combined is?
I thought that was about
Yeah.
500,000, isn't it?
Well, no,
Or what is it, sewer and water?
Well, I do it by water because I'm only really concerned about the water because that's what's going to go next. So I can give you the numbers.
We couldn't have it.
I thought,
We
yeah,
wouldn't have to get it paid.
I thought we had those numbers that it was.
It's in that study.
Yeah, it's in that study.
Because I know some of that does go toward the wastewater, like $12 goes toward the wastewater account.
Just burns. I got a problem with this man.
Huh?
Tim, stay, please.
Huh? What's that? David?
All got smart.
What happened?
Council